Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I turn around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know my name. Papa, you know me. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much, Reverend Sama. Thank you very much for that wonderful outing there. I believe that today is another day, and being another day in this month of May, we are going to have an exciting time. Greetings to the people of Ambazonia in the home front. And remember, today is May the 26th, the month that is very pregnant in our history. And of course, I want to let you know that we will be having a special guest with us today in our history. And our guest is going to come in to let us know exactly what is going on. So, but then before he comes, I will be introducing him when he just comes in. And before he comes, I want to send 21 gun salutes to the people of Ambazonia and to tell you welcome to this program for our education. Now, our history, like I said yesterday, and thanking Paul Biya for delaying and becoming like a pharaoh so that the power of God can be manifested. I sincerely regret and my condolence to those who have gone untimely because of this wicked war that is going on. Of course, not only you, the condolence also go to me because I lost my first sister from the same mother as a result of this war. So I want to send again 21 gun salute to the defense team that is on ground, 21 gun salute to our civilians, and of course 21 gun salute to all the diasporans who are supporting to make sure that these criminals are sent out of our land. 21 gun salutes to all of you. And if you put them together, every organ and every department in the interim government, 21 gun salutes to all of you, all of you. We are grateful that you are involved in making our history and for people to know where we are coming from. I told you and I promise you that we will be digging out more because there are a lot of hidden things that if some of you know, you will act more than what you are acting now. A lot of things have been hidden, especially the torture that we have had as a result of this unequal yoke with La République du Cameroon. And recently we have seen some of the French countries in Africa, colonies in Africa, rising up to say what they have to say. And I listened very keenly to the outing that took place yesterday to the French embassy in South Africa with Malema and the Africans telling the French to leave Africa. And I could hear the politic lies that the ambassador was telling. Remember, we are here for current events that are making history. Now, he pretentiously and with a lying lip told the people that, well, over the news, over the media, that, well, they are just partners with Africa if they are founded, their military is founded as a result of the leadership that has said that they should come and they are there. But we know that they are monitoring, and we know that especially in La République du Cameroon, who has out, come out to fight and destroy Ambazonia with the ailing ancestor called Paul Biya, whom I just thanked. We see that the person who is actually acting is the French ambassador. And the people know it. They know it. This is 21st century. And the hidden things that used to happen in darkness and in secret are no more happening in darkness, and they are no more happening in darkness. So the people are rising up. A few French colonies in Africa have risen up, like Mali, like Chad. I don't know how the situation is actually there now. But what I know is that Ambazonia, who was annexed to the trying to annex us to the French, we have risen up and we are saying no to France through its proxy, La République du Cameroon. I am sure that if you have been listening to us, you would have known a number of things that we have discovered as a result of Mr. Biya refusing to address a few social issues that have led us to understand that we were actually sold to France by Britain for £2 million. This is speculation, but I know that there is no smoke without fire. So we will be finding out, and we will be bringing to you who is an Ambazonian now, because those who fought and fought and fought and have gone, there is no way, they can come up to, there's no way they will come up to kind of hear the story which they have not heard. They have not heard the story because France and La République has done everything in the past to intimidate us, subjugate us, and put us under duress, not to be able to actually know what our life is all about and what our history is all about. Because if you know your history, sincerely speaking, you will frank at the current events that are taking place. And I would think that Ambazonians should know their history and be able to frank at the current events that are taking place. Now, I know that pollution has been going on very seriously against this, what we are doing in the interim government. And that pollution is as a result of somebody trying to cover up the games that they have been playing. Like I told you, when you are a thief, you will quickly begin to shout, thief, 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 so that your thievery can be forgotten, and they will concentrate on that individual who doesn't know what you are talking about. And that's exactly what has been going on in the social media. Yeah, in the social media, to blackmail. They will get a little bit of what somebody has not done, or what they themselves have hindered somebody from doing, and then they come in the social media and they blow it up in the air, which is practical lies telling. And I'm so sad that this is going on with people in the 21st century who think that by making loud noises and speculations on social media, the truth shall not be discovered. But it's a lie. Just hold on. Ambazonians, hang on there. I am telling you, it is not going to be business as usual. As we develop and as we grow into our history, we are getting into a position and a point where all of us shall be able, if we are willing, to know the truth, which is the only instrument in life that can save us and can make us free. That truth. So today in our history, I will be bringing a man. But before I bring up this man, remember yesterday I told you that I was waiting and listening to hear from the boss, the Minister of Communication, the Secretary of State for Communication in Ambazonia, Dr. Mungwa, to tell us the story of what is actually going on now. When people think that they can behave like they behaved in 1982, 1999, in the kangaroo banana republic of la republic that has no rules, people think that, well, at the end of the day, they can just go ahead and do what they want to do. But unfortunately, it does not work like that. It does not work like that. And because it does not work like that, I want to let Ambazonian people know that God, who is in charge, has taken over Ambazonia completely. And because he has taken over Ambazonia completely, we are here to tell you the history without mixing words. Yes, we are telling you the history without mixing words. And oh boy, the history we are telling you without mixing words is that the current events that are presently taking place in Ambazonia are going ahead to reach out and tell us of what is actually the situation in position now in Ambazonia. And I would like you, Ambazonians, to call your other fellows, tell them to listen to our history in the past, because you will get tidbits. Like I told you before, I'm still telling you now that the situation in Ambazonia is the one that has happened before. So I want you to share this link so that other people will understand what our history is all about. Now, I have been telling you, and like I told you yesterday, that the Secretary of State for Communication for the interim government is Dr. Martin Mungwa. We have had a long way to come to be where we are today, since 2018, that our country, Ambazonia, was handed over to God. Once it was handed over to God, immediately it was handed over to God, we became, yes, once it was handed over to God, immediately God took over. Things began changing very, very fast. Very, very fast. And don't forget that when things are changing in the positive, the devil also comes in there. One of the things that people have forgotten in the world, especially religious people, they have forgotten that there is a devil. And so they attribute almost everything to God. No, sir. That's why Ambazonia is coming out to make a difference, that the president of Ambazonia, who is a bona fide child of God, has decided that we must get to Boya. Now, with this decision that we must get to Boya, guess what? Devil also steps out there and say, no way, no way. And so I am believing God that a prince from heaven has been sent to deliver us. And like it or not, the truth is we are getting back to our land. The devil cannot. Satan, listen, you cannot take and hold Ambazonia hostage, because the person at the helm of Ambazonia is somebody who knows you very well. He knows your caprices and knows your trickery. And for that reason, you will not be able to capture Ambazonia. When he handed over Ambazonia to God in 2018, the Ambazonian people accepted. I remember a time when one concerned Ambazonian, really an Ambazonian, he actually got to a point where, while we were singing our national anthem, this guy came to a point where he said, why do you put this Son of God in the anthem? Can this be removed? And the wisdom that God gave to his servant to respond to this man was that, hey, when we come to that particular stanza, jump it. Don't sing it. If you don't want it, don't sing it. So Ambazonia has been completely handed over to God, and God took it. But excuse me, are you an Ambazonian? Has God taken you? If God has taken you, then you will speak the mind of God. And you will speak the truth, not lies, not speculating, not speculations. A lot of so-called activists for Ambazonia came in there with all zeal, and they were just speculating. But when the reality of things began manifesting, of course, I know of a young man who constructed a very powerful building on the sand. And when the winds came, they were blown off. So you can build your crowd on lies and on things that are not founded. An average human being is curious and has itchy ears. I want to hear something that is tinkling, something that is sweet in the ears. But Ambazonians, we will not be so. We will go by the truth. Do you know what the English adage says? The English adage says that, the truth is bitter, but must be spoken. Have you heard that before? Oh, yes. And that is what Ambazonia is all about. Now, over the years, we have been learning. Over the years, we have been getting into what I want to call a trial of experience to see and to know exactly who and where we are. But then, as we got into this particular trial and training and learning, in this learning process as we go, a number of things have happened. So many things have happened. And these things that have happened, of course, they are happening to teach us. We are not stupid. We are not dummy. We are going ahead. And that's why we have learned a lot. We have learned a lot. And at this juncture, you will not think that we will remain to be who we were in 2017, 2018, and 2019, 2020, and even last year when we made a lot of gains in our current events that are making history. We saw the handwork of God. And of course, we saw the destructive hand of the devil. Just like La Republic thought that by picking up Yuktabe and the Nine, the whole thing was going to collapse. But unfortunately, it didn't collapse. So thinking that he can use the proxies who were very close to the interim government, worked in institutions in the interim government, by dissuading them to get out and begin to do unscrupulous things, that the journey had ended. No, sir. Satan, listen, the journey has just begun, and we are going to go till the end, not by power, not by might, not by our strength. Oh, yes, we have no strength of ours to do it, but we have somebody who is our strength and who does it and does it very well. The thing we are asking Ambazonians to do is to join the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sako Ikome, so that we can precipitate, we can go, and we can go faster. Because if we don't join this train that is taking us straight to Boya, I am telling you, if we join any other group, like I heard people clamoring for a, what do you call it, a revolutionary council. Oh boy, what are we talking about? And some of these people who are talking about revolutionary council are men that are noted to be intellectuals. And I have been telling you, and I want to repeat myself, La Republique has a very powerful instrument of corruption that has not reached 1/10 of the instrument of truth and, uncorrupted minds, which is orchestrated and carried out by God. And when you join God's train, that corruption, spiritually, physically, and otherwise, will not be your portion. But if you don't join God and you go by what La Republique is doing, my dear friend, you'll be driving very seriously in the wilderness. Yes. And when you drive very seriously in the wilderness, of course, you know where people who stay in the wilderness end up. So we will not end up in the wilderness. We will end up where God wants us to end up, and that is in Ambazonia, that is in Boya. We are going to Boya. And because we are going to Boya, nobody can stop us from getting to Boya. Now, I told you yesterday that the process has started. For those who think that we came out from a country that had laws with no implementations, and people can commit the crimes with impunity because they know that nothing is going to happen, even though the laws are there, some Ambazonians have tried it. They tried it for Ambazonia and in a land where the laws are implemented. Now, I told you 6 Ambazonians of repute, well known in their craftiness, and crimes against Ambazonians, but under a guise that everybody was applauding, thinking that it was the right thing that they were doing. Money for marshals, about $135,000, amounting to about 70 million francs, was swindled away. And these fellows did not say anything until a time when they were required to give an account that they said they were scammed. Who are the scammers? They cannot bring out one single person that scammed them. And what's the conclusion? As human beings, we'll conclude that they stage played scamming, because people can stage play scamming, and so many other felonies that they have committed because they feel that, oh, Ambazonia is just a virtual country. It's not real. But forgetting to know that whether virtual or real, we will start implementing what is in the interim constitution right where you are. Now, I want to let the Ambazonians know, if you are in a foreign land like La République du Cameroon, you can do anything and go away with it. But if you are in the other foreign lands where their rules and their laws are respected, like these 6 that have been picked up, and so many others that are still to be picked up, like the fellow who went in and then did some manipulation in our website, get ready, Mr. Friend. Wherever you are, you cannot hide. You will be picked up very soon. Yes, for you to talk the right, who gave you the right to buckle into, that's internet fraud. You know the consequences. So you better get ready and jump out immediately and apologize before we take you, because Ambazonians are good-hearted. If you apologize, well, I don't know what the interim government is going to do. The judiciary system is there. They don't just go on to punish people. No, Ambazonia does not punish people. Ambazonia disciplines people. When you commit a crime that is worth discipline, you will be disciplined. And that's what Ambazonia is doing. We discipline people. I will start with these few fellows that have been picked up, especially that lady who, after being dismissed, she tried to swindle $71,000. That's about 35 million. Can you imagine what these people do? Now go and find out how much did these people contribute to alleviate, to help the situation of our IDPs and of our refugees and other people that are supporting to get the terrorists out of our land. How much did you contribute? You discover that most of them have contributed next to nothing. Yes, they've contributed next to nothing. And if they have contributed next to nothing, why? How come it that, oh boy, how come it that these people actually are going ahead and doing what they are doing, which is not supposed to be so? It's not supposed to be so. So Ambazonians, get ready. We are moving and we are moving. Yes, we are moving and we are moving. And because we are moving, I want you to know that sincerely, God is on our side. And because God is on our side, we will do it. Remember, today we have a man that is going to come in and be with us in the next few minutes. I will be bringing him in. And when I bring him in, you will follow very attentively to hear what our history is and has been all about. Now, a lot of people do not know this, and because they do not know this, they found themselves in a position where they just get up in the morning and follow whatever thing they follow. But my friend, this is time we want to make sure that you follow that which is going to profit you. So we'll call on our brother who is in the studios with us, and we'll ask him to just sing us one line of Abba Father, you know my name. When he sings us that Abba Father, you know my name, we will come right back to continue with you. Just listen. I so much love that.
I give you glory. Abba Father, you know me, you know you said I be a picking, no. Jesus, you said your love go cover me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I look around, now you are the feel.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My Ambazonian people and people of the world watching and listening to the story of Ambazonia. Yes, when Jesus looks around, when you look around, you can only see God. That is, if you accept that He is the Abba Father and that He knows your name. Yes, I'm telling Ambazonians that the current events that are taking place in Ambazonia are beginning to make history. And if current events are making history, I'm here to tell you that started. We are going to see. The Englishman says that action speaks louder than words, and action has started. And when this action started, it started from the appropriate quarters. But because people are liars and they are listening to lies, and they are doing everything to discourage, betray, intimidate, frighten, and take Dr. Sako out. So whatever the foundation does, Dr. Sako is not the Ambazonian Foundation. No, he is not. And for your information, I think so. For your information, Dr. Sako does not have a signature as a board member in the Ambazonian Foundation. He is not. An Ambazonian Foundation is an NGO with a board, of course, with a board, and the Ambazonian Foundation came under the interim government. So it is created by Ambazonians to support the interim government to reach out to the displaced and to support our people at the home front to make sure that they execute this war. And so not all the institutions have his name. And I want to tell you that the name President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is not Dr. Sako's name. He is the president. But the word president does not mean that he is the one. Of course, we know of ex-president Ayuk Tabe. So when we say president, we must put the person that is there at that time. But a lot of people do not know that if the president of Ambazonia, in the person of Dr. Sako, goes out somewhere and does something and says it is the president of Ambazonia, he is simply saying that it is the people of Ambazonia. But a lot of people have that very low mind that we need to be explaining these things. We don't blame you. When he goes out and says this is done by Dr. Sako, yes, know that it is him as an individual. But when he does it in the name of President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, it cumulates everybody, means that it is the nation of Ambazonia. So we should distinguish and be able to differentiate these things. Now, there is a noise going on out there on social media, of which I told you that Ambazonia is not run on social media. There is noise going on. There's so much noise going out there about Dr. Sako, Dr. Sako, Dr. Sako, 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 Sako. Unfortunately, our people who are not instructed to know the difference, they believe that once they mention President of Ambazonia, automatically it is Dr. Sako. Yes, for now, it is Dr. Sako. But at the end of the term, at the end of time, he is not going to remain there forever. Endele did not remain there forever. Jongu Foncha did not remain there forever. And of course, Ngumjua did not remain there forever. And even Paul Biya, who has tried to remain forever at the presidency of La République du Cameroon, genocidal terrorist government that his regime has brought in the reign of terror, he's not going to remain there forever. If a vote that he has stolen over the years of voting cannot push him out, there is something that is going to push him out. And very soon, you will hear that he has been pushed out. I'm not going to say it, but he cannot remain there forever. Now, if he goes away and the presidency, somebody takes over La Republic as a president, it's no longer Paul Biya. He can come in with changes of whatever, but that's their cup of tea. What are we saying? I'm saying here, Ambazonians should get ready and learn. Remember, on Saturday, another great event that has been greatly envied and greatly, persecuted, the draft, our award draft of 2022 is coming on board. The stage has been set and it's going to be on that 28th of May 2022. I told her this month is pregnant. And I don't want to forget to tell you that today, the 26th of May 2022, there is going to be a town hall where the president will be talking to people across the nation of Ambazonia. The Zoom is already there on social media. You can get in there and come in. But guess what? You will only be tolerated in that hall if you're not coming in to make noise. If you want to be an opposition, go to ABS. If you want to fight the interim government, meet Chris Anu and then join hands with him. And let's see the end. If you want to tell lies and crack and fabricate lies, like some people are always writing when we come in here to tell history, they always come in here to write the lies that they have been taken. Yeah, if you want to write those lies, then go to that kind of a place. I'm not referring you to any social media that is wicked, but I'm just saying that in this place, you are here. If you come in here, get ready to be told the truth. And some people who are always like any Loveline, it looks like a name from La Republic. And of course, it looks like an enabler, any Loveline, if that is truly her name. These are kind of people that have been brainwashed, who hate the truth. Truth is what is touched and seen. But then, such people will not want to go by the truth. They want to go by the lies that they have been told. And when they are speaking those lies, they are so happy to talk the lies. So, our history has come a long way, and I told you there are Ambazonians who have tasted of this truth, and they are willing to make other Ambazonians know this truth. So, I do not know, Reverend, we are talking history. I know that he knows your name, right? Of course, not only your name. He knows the name of Ambazonia. And because he knows the name of Ambazonia, you say that you want to remind the Ambazonians again. Okay, this is the last chance I'm giving you to remind the Ambazonians that Abai Father, to whom our president handed over this nation to, that he knows Ambazonia. That is, Abai Father knows Ambazonia. So please, I'll just give you a few seconds to remind our people that he knows Ambazonia. And then from there, I am sure Mr. Manga will be with us very shortly, and then we'll pick out from there. So, Reverend, go ahead and tell us that he knows your name. All right.
Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy. You know me, you know my name.
Okay, Reverend Sama, thank you very much for making Ambazonians to know that he knows my name. Yes, he knows my name. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Mr. John Manga. Mr. John Manga is an Ambazonian and he studied political economics and developmental economics. And he was trained as a court interpreter and translator. He taught college classes as how do you call it, adjunct, a next professor of economics, and who worked as a senior consultant for the Oracle Corporation. And of course, he worked as a banker in La République du Cameroon, and he published and authored several books. Now he resides in North America, and this is the person I told you yesterday. He has had a touch with some of our uh, how do you call them? Oh, let me call them ancestors. Some of our founding fathers who have had touched with our history, who joined in making our history what it is. And I told you specifically that he personally talked with Mr. Dr. Jongu Foncha in the making of our history. And so he is here today to give us tidbits and just a few and some introduction, because from time to time he is an encyclopedia. When I talked to him yesterday, I discovered that he is an encyclopedia of our history. And today he will just make an introduction, and from time to time he will be coming in like Pandangam and others to unveil to us the real history of Ambazonia, so that you will know that this battle in which we are is not just by chance. It is orchestrated and planned by God. And so, over to you, Mr. John Manga, Comrade John Manga. Talk to the Ambazonian people what you know and what our history is all about. Over to you.
Thank you, thank you very much, Pastor Komando. Well, I am here today to just give a bit of light on one specific issue. I was working in Bamenda when I spent some time translating documents. Some of them which I brought back from my studies in Europe, and I was working on one which was a thesis of a doctorate thesis of a Canadian, French Canadian student, and it was talking. The title of the book in English would be West Cameroonians, the minority in a bicultural state. I was attracted to this book when I was still a student studying, and so and I didn't have time to read and analyze it at the time. So I decided to photocopy the whole book, and when I was returning to Cameroon, I brought it with me, and then I had the time now to translate the book. And after it was printed by a friend of mine in Bamenda, I took a copy to Powerfuncher, and uh, just 1 minute. Yeah, I took a copy to go and present to Powerfuncher because I know he was a giant figure in our history. So I wanted him to see to have a copy of this book, which was written by a Canadian and analyzing our situation in Cameroon. So I had read in the book as I was translating it that at some point, President then President Ahijo gave a copy, an advance copy, of the constitution they were to discuss in Fumban to Pafancha. And this author was alleging that Funcha did not share that document with members of his opposition, that is led by Dr. Enlili. So when I finished writing the book, I made a comment at the back of the book referring to that incident. So I went to Funcha and said, and before I handed him over the book, I asked him the question: is it true that you received an advance copy of the Constitution of the proposed federal Constitution, but failed to share it with Dr. Endeli? Funcha said yes, he did receive it, but he did not share it. And then he went on to explain why he did not share it. He said the intelligence he was receiving at the time indicated that Ahijo, behind Funcha's back, was communicating with the leaders of the opposition. So he supposed that Ahijo would probably have given them a copy of his constitutional proposal. So that's the reason why he didn't waste his time giving it to, making it known to Dr. Endeli. So that's the little part of our history that I happened to hear directly from Funcha himself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. John. Now, are you by then saying that the game of divide and rule uh, with French Cameroon to the people of Ambazonia started right back at that time? And why? Okay, you have said why Foncha did not give the copy to the other opposition party. What did you derive from that? His refusal after he had said that he thought that Ahijo was talking to the other opposition people and must have given them the copy.
Well, just as you have said, I thought that Ahijo could do that kind of a thing because he was going to have to negotiate with a delegation of Southern Cameroonians in Fumban, and he didn't want them to be united. He certainly didn't want. He wanted to make his work easy for him by by dividing them, by putting a wedge between them. So he himself uh, might have instigated that rumor so that there will be division between Funcha and his opponents. Yeah. So
Good.
that is another instance of divide and rule.
Yeah, in our discussion, you made some certain revelations to me that I think that many Ambazonians do not know. We know of what they call secondment. Many Ambazonians who have been in the civil service, they know what it means to be for somebody to be on secondment, working for a particular, either working for a government in a corporation or working for a corporation in the government. And you told me a certain Frenchman's story. Can you just recount that to the Ambazonians so they can know that this game has been planned a long, long time ago?
Yeah, I have two short stories there to tell you. One is about the person who was the last but one French High Commissioner to Cameroon. He wrote a book, and I can show you the front page of the book. Pierre Mesmer, Les Blancs s'en vont. That was the title of his book. And inside somewhere, he was relating the story of how um, the the constitution which was presented by Ahijo was a false federal constitution. In fact, I will substitute the word false with the word deceptive. He said uh, he said that constitution was carefully prepared by Ahijo's French legal experts, and it was a deceptive federal constitution, which means it was not. It was intended to deceive us, to make us believe that we were in a federation, but actually it wasn't. And the put in all the clauses that would make it easy for him to do what he did, that is abolish the federation, which he finally did. Pierre Mesmer says that at the end of the book, no, sorry, at the end of the chapter on Cameroon, he's saying something there. He- yeah, let me just he's saying the he said Funcha accepted without uh, discussion what, except in name, was an annexation. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
So
it's just that means that the purported constitution was just a name that
uh, uh,
it
uh,
is a
what,
constitution,
yes,
but it was actually an exception.
the constitution was an instrument for
Mm-hmm.
annexation.
Annexation.
It
Okay.
was federal. It was
Mm-hmm.
federal only in name.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it was an instrument to annex
The
uh,
Amazonian
the
people.
southern Cameroon. Yeah,
Okay. Started.
that's a
Okay.
Frenchman speaking, and not any kind of Frenchman. The French High Commissioner to Cameroon. Yeah, that's him. And then he went on to conclude by saying that uh, a certain joke was making the rounds in Douala and Yaoundé. Then the joke is the unified Cameroon is is a bilingual francophone country.
Wow.
The the unified Cameroon is
Right.
a bilingual francophone
French
country.
francophone country. Wow.
Yeah, that's how he concluded the chapter. You see, so from the very beginning, they knew where they were heading to. They knew they
Okay.
just
So
wanted to annex. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So by saying that the united bilingual country of Cameroon was actually to annex and kind of assimilate us to be all francophones and nothing about our English and about our culture. Is that right?
Of course. And so nearly 60 years later, President Paul Biya admitted that.
Yeah, because
He
you can
said
see.
that
Yeah.
he was in France, and he admitted that it had been their goal to assimilate us
Right.
with no qualms. Yeah, he has said that.
So, Ambazonians, you can hear from the from people who are not just talking theories, people who are not just talking speculations, but people who are talking facts with evidence to show and evidence to prove that our situation today did not just start overnight. It has been a plan for a very, very long time. And as he rightly mentioned, uh, when they tried everything, Paul Biya confessed that even though they tried with the federation not working, they tried, came into United, it didn't work. Then in 1984, he finally took a step to make sure that what they had been planning for years is implemented by removing the name of Southern Cameroons. And of course, 92 entered and divided the Southern Cameroons into two so as to gain access and divide and rule. And then in 1984, he actually came in now to remove totally every identity about Southern Cameroons and Bazonia and then make us to become La République du Cameroon. I'm sure that is exactly the train of the history, sir, as we are talking.
Hmm. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Okay. We will be having Mr. John come back to tell us a number of things concerning our stories. He also said that there was a representative from France to represent us, and the man was actually asking questions. How can I be representing Cameroon, or Cameroon in Cameroon, where they are Cameroonians? I think Mr. John, if you can just throw a light to that Frenchman who made that statement, we'll be calling it quit for today, while we look forward to another day where you will reveal to us some of the things that you read in history. Can you remember that story you briefed me?
Yes. When the French were still the colonial master of Cameroon, uh, as as they were preparing to grant Cameroon independence against their will, because actually what France wanted to do with its colonies in Africa is to make a Franco-African community. That is, all the citizens of their former colonies could have been like citizens of France. So France will be one colony, one community with these African colonies. But apparently, the United Nations were not in agreement with that, so they kept on pressing that they should grant them independence. So, in order to maintain the same privileges that France would have had if the African countries uh, uh, remained under the French community, France came up with cooperation secret. I've just read something now that tells me that all those things were secret cooperation agreements which France signed. Let me talk about Cameroon first, because that was the very first one. There were about a dozen of those agreements, secret agreements. The granted almost total power to France. That is, they took away the sovereignty of French Cameroon, because we were not there. Ahidjo was not yet signing in our name. He was signing for East Cameroon, even though in 1958, 59, French Cameroon was not yet sovereign. It was not yet independent. So it before the international law, it should be wrong for Ahidjo to be committing his country that way. But he went on and did. And before he did that, the people who negotiated those secret agreements with France were two French civil servants on secondment to
Mm.
Cameroon. So while they were working under, they were working in Cameroon, helping Cameroon, as they would say, they were the ones picked to go and negotiate the terms of an agreement, of agreements. There were many, which were binding and which are still binding on Cameroon today. So these Frenchmen went up to Paris and met their colleagues. There are other French civil servants, and they sat on the at the table and wrote these agreements. So this guy, one of these two guys, later wrote in his memoir. I have a copy of what he said, but I can't read that to you now. He wrote in his memoir that at some point he felt uncomfortable that he was sitting there in front of his colleagues, his French colleagues, and representing Cameroon in negotiations that are going to result in the signing of secret agreements. So he wasn't comfortable doing it. So Cameroon, I don't know whether it was Ahijo or who selected them, but you see, the French were taken there to represent Cameroonians. There was no Cameroonian there to defend Cameroon's position. So that kind of that kind of agreement cannot be fair. It will be lopsided, and they are all lopsided. If you read them, you will know that Cameroon sold its sovereignty to France.
Wow, wow. But Ambazonians, I'm sure you are hearing. Well, Doctor, our time is up, and I will want to bring you back here. I have a few questions which I believe that you can help to enlighten the Amazonian people concerning the work that France has not just started doing today, but has been doing it for a very, very long time. And in this
Mhm.
21st century, we can see that everything that was done in that and pretentious, pretending that they were helping us, pretending that they were out to develop and to, I mean, to educate us and to civilize us. Meanwhile, they were actually out to exploit us. And I will keep these particular statements that you have mentioned today. We will discuss at the back. If you have any, sometime, because our time is really up, I'll bring you back here and I'll ask you a few questions concerning this French man who talked, and then some of the secret deals that France signed with La République de Cameroon when we were not even there, even though we have never been there since our purported annexation was all a sham. And our people at that time were not as enlightened as we are today. And so they could not dig into things to have, people do what we are doing today. Can you just us a concluding statement, sir, to all that you have said so that we can call it quit for today?
Okay, I will just add a few words to what I have just said about this accord de coopération, as they call them in French. If our leaders, our West Cameroon leaders, knew that uh, French Cameroon was tied to France through these instruments, I'm not sure they would have wanted for us to form a federation with them. It's like it's like a lady who is secretly married to somebody else goes out and entices another person and gets married to him. when this second person discovers that the wife was secretly married to somebody else, he's very likely to want to get out of there. So, and that in any court of justice would be reason to dissolve the marriage, because while we were joining, the United Nations said we asked us to join to become independent by joining La République. Those statements show that La République wasn't independent.
Independent, right?
It wasn't. Their sovereignty had been taken away. It had been hollowed out. They were not independent. So how did we become independent by joining a country that is not
That was not
independent?
independent. Mr. John, thank you very much. There is a question. Somebody has just called in to ask a question from you. I don't know if you'll be patient to take that question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Caller, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Pastor Komando, for this wonderful show. We're very excited listening to first-hand information, someone who actually witnessed our history by actually meeting face-to-face with the Honorable Funcha now of late. So we're really happy to have you here, sir, and I pray that this is not going to be the same, the first, it's not going to be the last time. We'll have you many more times because we need this education, we need this enlightenment. Thank you. My question, you explained about the Frenchman who felt uncomfortable representing Cameroonians in the presence of Cameroonians. Now, I want to have this clarified. Was that at the Pullman conference, or you mentioned this was at secret agreements or secret negotiations? In what context were these negotiations? Is this the Pullman conference you're talking about?
No, not the Fumban conference. Even though during the Fumban conference there were French experts in the background. That is very well known. They were the ones advising Foncha. Maybe no, not Foncha. Ahijo and his team. Maybe these same people were there, but these were secret agreements which France was forcing Cameroon to sign even before independence, even before East Cameroon got independence. This was in 1959, 1960. That's when those negotiations and those secret agreements were negotiated and signed. And it should have been it should have been negotiations between Cameroonians representing Cameroon and the French representing France. But as I say, those who represented Cameroonians in Cameroon in these negotiations were French people on secondment to Cameroon. Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. Thank you very much for coming. I'm sure that our caller has heard exactly in which capacity the French were representing Cameroon in the presence of Cameroonians with their French counterparts. There is much to do. That is why when I said I thanked Mr. Biya in his wicked regime to have resisted us just to amend two things that we're asking, the judiciary and the education. If he had done it, we would not have known all these things and would have remained in perpetual slavery forever. Ambazonians, I want you to know that our country, Southern Cameroons, now Ambazonia, was a prosperous country. It was very much self-governing, self-sufficient. And whatever transpired to bring us into this quagmire that we are now, only God knows. And that's why we want you to know your background and understand that we have restored our land, the government of Indele, Foncha, and Gomjua, and we are getting ready to get back and possess our land. Having handed over the land to God, who is the creator, we strongly believe that at the end of the day, when we repossess our land, some eyewitnesses like Mr. John, because it is going to be very soon, will be there to strongly advise us and tell us the failures and some of the secret things that went on so that we be able to rebuild our house, and the glory of the house will be better than the glory of the former house which we were still developing. Now, Mr. John, I will get back. We will get back on board, but I'm going to ask you a few questions when we come back on board to continue in this history. I will be announcing to Ambazonian people when you will be coming back on the air so that we can pick up from where we have just stopped today. But I would like you to listen to an interview that was granted by the French ambassador in South Africa yesterday when there was a demonstration in South Africa. They called it African Day. So the South Africans demonstrated in French in front of the French embassy in South Africa, and they met with the French ambassador to South Africa. And I would like you to listen to some of the, I called it rubbish. He thinks that he's still talking to Africans of 1952, but he doesn't know that he's talking to Africans who are enlightened. Once again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for coming. I'm looking forward, and the Ambazonian people are looking forward to having you back on our studios so to share the well of experience and the knowledge that you have for Ambazonians to learn, because the history book I'm reading tells me that people perish for lack of knowledge, because if they have knowledge, they will not go the route that they are going. Thank you very much, and may God richly bless you as you continue to do the research to enlighten and support and help the Ambazonian people to come to the position where they're supposed to come. Once again, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you too. See you next time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. John Manga, who is actually residing now in North America, and he has been a professor. He has been, I mean, his profile is very, very deep and helpful to the Ambazonian people. I would like us to create some time. I would really crave your indulgence that you create some time and come in here at the day we will be talking with him again. I will be making the announcement whenever we discuss and he is about to come here. It's good that such a man that has studied political and economics and developmental economics, should be able to talk to us, because we shall be asking questions about the economy sabotage and the destruction that took place in Ambazonia when he was actually there. He saw the systematic destruction of our infrastructures, and not only that, our economy, because the La Republique and the other evil people in the world, they know that if they destroy a economy of any person, of any group, of any nation, that nation cannot go anywhere. That is why the enablers and the blacklegs in Ambazonia are trying to do, calling on people not to draft and telling people not to do this and that, because they know that if they destroy the economy of our interim government, it will not work. But unfortunately, they are trying to fight God. Because if you get up to fight the creator, then that is terrible. Now, he also is trained as a court interpreter and a translator. And then he taught college classes as an assistant professor of economics. And he worked as a senior consultant for the Oracle Corporation. Many of you know the Oracle Corporation in the world of internet technology, IT, and he worked also as a banker in La Republique, in Cameroon. He just said Cameroon. I'll need to find out from him whether this bankership was in La Republique du Cameroon or in Ambazonia, because he will tell us also of the siphoning of the funds to make the country crumble. And of course, he has published a number of books. He has authored a number of books. So this is, again, the profile of Mr. John Manga, and we shall be resorting back to him when we come to our program. Very sorry I've entered into another time for 15 minutes. I am excused for that. But let's run up with this young man. He tells me that he still wants to remind the Ambazonian people that he knows that Abba Father knows your name, not only your name, but the name of Ambazonia. Shall we go? Okay, thank you very much.
Father, you